In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to get snatched without losing weight so that you can achieve long-term sustainable results with a routine that you actually enjoy. You're going to keep doing it and you're going to be able to keep your kind of dream physique, dream body, feel fit, strong, confident, thrive at work. So if you're interested, then strap in. My name's Ailish. I am an online health coach and a nutritionist. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background on my story so you know who I am and what you're getting yourself into. So I started social media back in 2017 when I was doing my food sciences degree because I was interested in fitness, interested in health, interested in nutrition. I had that Instagram account for a few years and a YouTube account, social media generally, until I finished my nutritional sciences masters and then began online health coaching because I realized there was a little bit of a disconnect between long-term sustainable results, habits and routines, also fitness knowledge and understanding, and a healthy diet all merged into one. So that's where I've got to where I am. I'm also currently postpartum, but please, this kind of explanation is about a little bit about postpartum. But if you're not postpartum, you're not interested in getting pregnant or like a transformation after pregnancy, still stay tuned because everything that I'm going to talk about is relevant to any kind of fat loss situation, any kind of weight loss situation, any way in which you want to change your body and get long-term sustainable results. Just so happens that I'm freshly postpartum, so that's kind of specific to me. I'm going to take you through the video structure. I'll put the times on the screen to each section. They'll also be in the description as well if you just want to skip ahead. But I'm going to start with my journey, my personal journey. So if you're not interested, skip ahead. Then we're going to hop into why focusing on weight loss isn't the answer. Very interesting. Then, of course, I'm going to explain what you should focus on instead. Then finally, we're going to discuss how to actually lose fat sustainably. So lots of interesting topics to cover and I'm very excited to dive into it with you. Little recap of my journey now, then pre-pregnancy. As I explained about my kind of career, I was interested in fitness from a young age, from my teens, and I more or less stayed in shape within around 5 kilograms of gaining muscle, losing fat for about 10 years. So super happy and confident with a physique that I think was amazing, gorgeous, fantastic. If I do say so myself. If you don't say so, then who is, you know? For over 10 years, had no issue enjoying my life, going out drinking, cocktails, bottomless brunches, also running a business and hiring many staff, working with many clients, basically spinning all of the plates from admin to marketing to service delivery. Everything that you can imagine I was doing, but at the same time managing to keep my mental health good, keep my physical health good, and keep my physical appearance a way that made me feel the most confident version of myself. So that's where I was pre-pregnancy. And just a little bit extra there, throughout this period of time, obviously strength training and nutrition, big important focuses to like how to actually change the shape of your body. But throughout that, it's not just a case of being in a really solid routine the whole time. My routine fluctuated so much throughout those 10 years. And I had a lot of fun doing other things. Rollerblading, CrossFit, swimming, cycling, any kind of sport you could, paddle. Genuinely, if I sat here, I could literally list everything. The secret sauce to physical change is push, consistency, being very specific, very repeatable, for a big push of progress. But the actual secret sauce to sustainable results is having the flexibility to just maintain a routine. It doesn't have to look the same. It needs to look like something you actually enjoy doing. Because if you don't enjoy doing it, you're not going to do it. You're going to do things that you enjoy, you know? Then I fell pregnant and I stayed active throughout. I think I probably in total had maybe like 6-7 weeks off in the entire 42 weeks of pregnancy from, nausea and all those things. So my training changed, not trimester by trimester. It was more so week by week, day by day. I still ran up until about 26 weeks. I still did CrossFit high rock stuff until about 32 weeks. I'm strength trained intermittently. I stayed very active, which is why now, 4 weeks postpartum, I'm feeling really good. I'm back in the gym. I'm sure, like, I recovered from an emergency C-section very well. I surprised myself, but just through staying active and taking each day as it came. So overall, I had a very active, enjoyable and fun, healthy, easy pregnancy. And I'm so grateful for that. Now, I did have some nausea in the first trimester. That led to me gaining 5 kilograms in the first trimester alone, when, you know, they say typically you shouldn't gain any weight in the first trimester of pregnancy. But I think you just have to look at all of those guidelines and ignore them, like, because they're useless. I gained 26 kilograms throughout the entirety of my pregnancy. 4 weeks postpartum, I've lost 14 of those kilograms, 13 of those kilograms, and I'm 13 kilograms heavier than I was before I got pregnant. Which is because I ate so much. I ate so much during pregnancy. I didn't stop eating during pregnancy because I actually had the most insatiable appetite. It was insane. I would finish a meal and then literally be hungry for another full meal straight after. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. And I am somebody who very much values my mindset when it comes to food, exercise, everything. If it's too much, we'll pull back. If it's not enough, we'll push. There is a time and place to give yourself grace, and that's what leads to long-term sustainable results. So it's not the time during pregnancy to be like, oh, I'm a bit worried about gaining fat, because ultimately it's easy to lose. You're going to see me in this video, and you're going to see a video in 6 months time, and you're going to be like, wow, it is quite easy to lose when you do the right things. But what's harder to shake, what's harder to overcome is your mindset. If I tried to follow calories, if I tried to mind my weight, if I tried to control my weight throughout pregnancy, I would be in a terrible place mentally now with my relationship with food, body, everything, because obviously no matter how much or little your body changes, or how much weight you gain or how little you gain, your body does change during pregnancy. So you're just adding on another layer of like stress. So if you're pregnant now, or you're going to get pregnant in the future, something to consider. It literally doesn't matter. Some people gain nothing. Some people gain like literally 30, 40 kilograms, 50 kilograms. It's fine. It's just weight. And when you gain excess weight, the benefits of that, if your diet is like, it doesn't have to be perfectly nourishing, but if it is relatively balanced, we'll want the McDonald's, we'll want the pizza, we'll want the chocolate. Do you know what I mean? We need a little bit of things, a little bit of foods to make us happy. If we've got some vegetables, some proteins, etc., your body's going to take all of that and look after yourself a little bit more, because your body gets depleted of everything to feed the placenta, to feed the baby. So it's just going to put you in a better situation for post-pregnancy. You shouldn't be as depleted. We'll go into that a little bit more deep in a few minutes. Anyways, I ate a lot. I've gained essentially probably like 13 kilograms overall. I'd say 5 of those were probably like my boobs. Hello, the mummy milkers. And just general like pregnancy fat that you should gain, because that's what we're supposed to do, is gain fat during pregnancy to be able to support and sustain postpartum. And then just another 8 kilograms or so of just surplus fat. So that's where I'm at right now. How my body has changed, I'll take some videos here, I'll collect them in, just show you're aware of where we're at. Something I didn't speak about was in this whole journey, body confidence has been a huge thing that I have shared, because I've had, like, my body has been slamming at times, truly slamming. And teeny waist, big bum, the hourglass figure, you know. And but regardless of how small, teeny tiny, itty bitty that waist, I'd had stretch marks, cellulite, all of that kind of stuff, stomach fat, rolls. So I was very much a part of that era of body confidence on social media and posting about that. So now, having went through pregnancy, at the moment, lots more cellulite, lots more stretch marks on my legs, a couple on my boobs, because I actually got them during puberty. So luckily my boobs have like quadrupled in size, honestly. But no stretch marks really, apart from the bottom, just because they've been there, they've done that. Same on my legs, like there's a few, but because I had so many from puberty, not too bad. But I currently have a foot bar. Very exciting, to be honest with you. It's like, I'm laughing about it because I never knew what that was. Like, I saw people talk about foot bar, and I was always like, like, I was like, hey, that's like a funny list of letters. I actually Googled it. I forgot what it means now. Fat upper pelvic area. That's what it stands. If you don't know, that's what it stands for. But where my C-section scar is at the moment, there's adhesion. So because it's only 4 weeks postpartum, it's kind of like attached. All of the layers of skin, tissue, etc. are attached. So I'm kind of, I don't know whether I'll try and share some kind of video photo or something, because obviously it's very low down. I'm not showing too much on socials, but like I've got like I've got an overhang basically. I've got quite a loose stomach, loose belly button, stretch marks. I've got quite a lot of arm fat and back fat that I have gained comparatively to where I was before. Those are all the ways that my body's changed throughout pregnancy. So a lot of those are kind of like permanent, but will kind of fade when it comes to the stretch marks, the fat, easy to go. The C-section shelf, fupa, overhang. I'm loving all these new descriptive words. It's a whole new world. I've looked into C-section massage, which I can start from 6 weeks, and you can also get like physiotherapists, massage therapists, some cupping. There's loads of different treatments that you can get to kind of separate the layers so that the overhang kind of flattens. But I've actually got an appendix scar from when I was 8, and I've got an overhang with that as well. So I'm interested to see whether that can be like, I don't care, obviously, like I've like loved my body like through all these things, but interesting, we'll move on. So I have explained all of these things, and the reason why I'm not focusing on weight loss right now, despite the fact that I do want to lose those 13 kilograms, more or less, 10 to 15, good with that. I want to have visible definition. I want to have a smaller waist. I want to have less body fat. Like, that's okay to want. And I want it because I look in the mirror and I'm like, you're amazing. Like, you are actually fantastic. And to be honest, you look great. But like, I want to look outstanding, sensational. I want to look at myself and be like, who even are you? You're out of this world. I think we all deserve to feel that way, I'm not gonna lie to you. But the reason to not focus on weight loss, if you do want to lose fat, gonna go through a list right now. Some of them are gonna be pregnancy related, because obviously that's where I'm at postpartum, but a lot of them are going to be related to just general ways that you might not be prioritizing your health, especially if you're a career girly and you prioritize other people over yourself, or your work over your health. So reason number 1 for me is breastfeeding. You can go in a deficit when breastfeeding. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, it's no issue so long as you are adequately nourished. But ultimately, you can't go in a big deficit. It's gonna be a slow, steady kind of thing. I just would rather, at least for the first few months, not even have to worry about that, not even have to kind of consider my milk supply, not even have to, I don't want, like I've said previously, I don't want the stress. I have found milk very easy, like I found breastfeeding very easy. My colostrum was fine, my milk came in fine. The amount, like I'm adjusting of her because I am like feeding on demand. Therefore, I don't want to mess around with it. Why impact a good thing, And the fact it's a full-time job, the fact that it is essentially, 5 to 6 hours a day roughly, I want to be fueled. I want to be optimally fueled. I want to be at maintenance. I want to make sure that my body's got what it needs to be able to do that job well. So that's number 1. Number 2 is nutrient depletion. So obviously pregnancy depletes your body of all your nutrients to grow a baby. And same with postpartum, the milk. So as much as I have been supplementing throughout, ultimately my nutrient stores in my body, vitamins and minerals, are lower. The reason that this is important to me is all of these vitamins and minerals play a role in your health. They play a role in your hormonal function. They play a role in your circadian rhythm. They play a role in your ability to lose fat. They're very important. So the way that I would view kind of like your efforts for fat loss, think about not the fat loss itself, but your efforts. If your efforts for fat loss, your efforts for fat loss are like a bucket, right? Okay, so when this bucket gets filled with water, that's when you can lose fat. So as you can see, this bucket has loads of, maybe you can't, but it's got loads of holes in it, right? It's a bin. It's got loads of holes in it. This is your like body being depleted of nutrients throughout pregnancy, postpartum, or just generally, right? Because your diet shit. Like if we're honest, right? Maybe you have been eating not great because of work, because of lack of time, lack of energy, lack of want, lack of desire. So your body is kind of like this too. This happens to anyone and everyone. This holds no prisoners, right? So if I'm focusing on making sure that I'm adequately nourished first, what it's going to mean is it's going to like patch up all of the holes. It's going to patch up all the holes. So this bucket is going to fill up much quicker. So my efforts for fat loss are going to occur much quicker. I hope that makes sense. When you're in a deficit, you are depleting your body naturally because you're eating less. So your body is going to take from your stores of vitamins and minerals and everything. So your body's function is going to be decreased if you aren't adequately nourished in the first place. You don't have stores in the first place. Like your health is going to be worse at the end. Your fat loss is not going to be as efficient. So all in all, it's not going to, you will make progress. You can do it. I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm saying for the long-term sustainable health and results in 6 month time, if you just went for it, yeah, like you'd make results and maybe there'd be, there could be long term, maybe there wouldn't be, and maybe it's going to have a long term negative impact on your health if you're not focusing on these things first. And obviously, when you're in a deficit anyway, it can impact your mood, your energy levels, all these things. Where when you focus on optimizing your health as a priority, you are going to be less likely to be impacted by these negative side effects. So overall, it's just going to be a more pleasant, enjoyable experience. Like you're going to be losing fat and you're going to be like, I feel great, I'm amazing. Okay, the next reason that I ain't focusing on fat loss right now is sleep deprivation. This relates to absolutely anyone and everyone. Get your 8 hours. Get your 8 hours, especially if you're a worker girly. If you have a job where you have a lot of creative juice needed, a lot of thinking fuel needed. If you're neglecting your sleep and you're getting maybe like 5 or 6 hours at best, you're doing your long-term health a disservice. You're doing your short-term like career a disservice. Like your work is not benefiting from you thinking that I'm gonna perform better if I just sleep less. Sorry, you are just on your way to burnout. But obviously, having a baby means getting up to feed, and that means that my sleep is, I'm maybe getting 6-7 hours, because I'm spending a long time in bed. I'd rather get those chunks, you know. So when you have poor sleep, it increases your cortisol, which can lower your rate of weight loss. I can also make, if you have higher elevated levels of cortisol generally, so this links to stress as well. When you sleep less, you're generally more stressed. This can lead to fat accumulation in the stomach as well. It can make it more likely for your body to accumulate fat in the stomach, but generally, fat's just going to go where it goes. When you aren't getting enough sleep, what your body does when you sleep is it flushes out all the bad and it replenishes all the good. It just makes sure that you have a full nice reset for the next morning. If you're not getting enough sleep, your hunger hormones aren't having a chance to reset. So your ghrelin is increased, hunger hormone, leptin is decreased, your satiety hormone. So you'll actually find yourself more hungry and less satisfied when you eat. So if you're going into a low calorie deficit, you're going to find it double extra hard because it's low calories and increased hunger. This has just reminded us for myself. My hunger is very normal now. When I stopped being pregnant, it went back to normal. So she was clearly hungry. But also, I do actually think my pregnancy sleep was worse than my postpartum sleep because I got up all the time for a wee and I was just generally so in pain and uncomfortable, especially towards the last few months. That probably had a big effect on my ability to be adequately nourished, adequately, like I could not be satiated. I could not be satiated at all Obviously, there's so many hormonal things going on in pregnancy, it impacts everybody else differently. But I've just realised that's probably one of the reasons that I was suffering so much. The next reason is muscle depletion. I have definitely lost muscle mass in my pregnancy. I've got less arm muscle, I've got less, generally less, I've not been strength training consistently enough. I've been exercising, but I haven't really focused on prioritizing muscle maintenance. So I've definitely lost some of it. And the reason that you want to focus on having muscle first is because if you're untrained, if you've not been training consistently and you don't have a lot of muscle mass to begin with, you're going to lose weight and just become a skinnier version of yourself. So if that's kind of like skinny fat, you're just going to be a skinny fat version of yourself. So you'll be smaller, but you'll still be squishy. You won't have any definition, and you'll look at yourself and you'll be like, oh, I've got more weight to lose, when actually weight loss isn't going to be the answer. It's that tone and definition. You want a lower body fat percentage, but if you don't have any muscle mass, there's only so small you can go, because the muscle mass is what makes your skin hard. It's like what makes you you don't want it to be squishy. You don't want the squishy fat. You want it to be like hard underneath, and that's muscle, and that's like what you want it to look like. You don't want it to jiggle, you don't want it to be squishy. You need the muscle mass there first. So I'm going to focus on, and the thing is, you can lose weight and build muscle at the same time. So if you're in a place where everything else is pretty good, it's going to be optimal to build muscle first and then lose weight. In circumstances where you're kind of like, you don't have a lot of weight to lose, maybe you've got 5-10 kilograms, spend 2 to 4 months focusing on muscle building first. Then you're going to be in a much better position to just dive in, lose fat quite quickly relatively, but have revealed gorgeous toning. If you've got a lot of weight to lose, 20, 30, 40 plus kilograms, just go for the deficit straight away, because it's just going to be more time efficient. It's also going to make your body more, your body loses fat. Your body composition is a lot easier to work with. So if you're starting from a smaller place and you just kind of want to tone up a little bit, your body's going to find that quite easy to lose fat and gain muscle. But if you're working from a higher body fat percentage, we just want to start lowering body weight as soon as possible to make life easier. Obviously, another pregnancy related one, I'm still healing, internally. My scar is more or less healed. There's a little scab here and there. But internally, obviously, all the layers of my abdomen got sliced the hell open. That internal wound is going to be healing for a long time. Therefore, why the fuck would I deplete my body of calories, nutrients? I want to heal well, so that in the future, I'm my healthiest version. So this can relate to any kind of circumstances, regardless of whether it was a surgery or whether it was a natural birth. You've got all the joints coming back together. Your body's sorting itself out for at least a couple of months. If you're just going to go straight into the postpartum, day after giving birth, right, let's cut the calories, you're not giving your body the opportunity to heal properly, and that's prioritizing your health. And an important thing about building muscle, because I want to build muscle for a couple of months before I drop into that deficit, is I don't have that strong of a core right now. I'm rebuilding it, so I can't push hard in my you can't push hard in your strength training if you don't have a strong core. So then you're not going to get as good results from a deficit, regardless of whether you wait a few months or you start now. You can't push yourself hard enough, so you're not going to get the most optimal fat loss results. Obviously, there are hormonal changes after you give birth. Obviously, progesterone and estrogen go all the way down. Regardless of whether you're breastfeeding or not, you'll get the changes in hormones from that post-birth, and they'll either continue or they'll go away. But there's a lot that's changed. Let the body sort itself out by giving it everything it needs to function optimally before depriving it. I'm repeating the same thing over and over, as you can see, but you can understand my passion and why this is so important. Metabolic priming is another great reason, regardless of whether you are postpartum or whether you are just generally wanting to get the best results. If everything is optimized, the muscle, the sleep, the nutrition, if everything is in a fantastic place, the activity levels are high, you are operating like a furnace, like a fire, you are a raging fire, you're going to come to 4-6 months down the line and you are going to find it so easy to lose weight because you've been in routine. Like I said, your activity levels are through the roof. You feel great because you're sleeping. Like, you are feeling fantastic, right? Because you're doing everything. Maybe you're not feeling the best because you don't have a super low body fat. You're like, I still feel. But don't worry, because push for 8 weeks. Really, you've got everything in place. All you have to do is drop your calories by 10-20% for 6 to 8 weeks. Be consistent with that, and you've been consistent with everything else for the past 4 to 6 months. Your body fat is just gonna drop off like a dream. And how easy is that? Or you can start now and you can not be metabolically primed, and you can be grinding really hard trying to get deficit, build up activity level, build muscle, sleep all at the same time. You're going to grind harder now for littler, smaller results that aren't as effective. It's up to you. Obviously, there's the relationship with food and your mindset. A lot of people love a boot camp, a 6-week boot camp, an 8-week boot camp. Let's go, let's do it. And like I've said, 6 to 8 week pushes are actually amazing. Go for it, love it. They're the best. If you're already in a good routine, if you're already thriving 12 months a year, everything is popping, you turn the dial for a little bit for a short period of time. Your relationship with food is going to be in a good place. Everything's going to be in a good place. You're going to lose fat. You're going to be snatched. You're going to feel amazing. That's how I'm going to feel. In December and January, I'm going to be like, oh, girl. But if you just jump into those things without doing the metabolic priming, without preparing, without being in routine first, if you are using that 6 to 8 weeks to get into routine and wanting to just lose the maximum weight possible in a short time frame, you can understand now from me yapping on for the past 30 or so minutes as to why that doesn't work, why that's never going to work long term, and why it does ruin your relationship with food and exercise, because it's not conducive with a long-term sustainable, healthy life and mind. Now, what can we focus on immediately? I have spoke about all these things, but let us go into a little bit more depth, a little bit more explanation about this. And it's what I'm focusing on right now too. So the immediate focus that we can all make if we want to metabolically prime ourselves for effective, efficient, sexy, long-term fat loss, that doesn't involve weight loss at all, but weight loss could be a side effect because we are ultimately increasing our activity levels. Loads of mumbo jumbo there for you, but first is movement activity. So if you're currently doing 5,000 steps a day and you double that to 10,000 steps, you are going to burn double the calories from just walking. If you keep your diet the same, your energy expenditure there has doubled, so you might actually see some weight loss. Anyways, it hasn't been the focus. It might happen, it might not happen. So you need to be able to tip the scale for a deficit, and everybody's different. Some people's bodies love staying and not losing weight, and some people's find it quite easy. But activity, you need to make it a priority in your life, because firstly, we are very sedentary these days, especially if you work an office job. I'm just standing up right now. Actually, I've been walking around because it's better than sitting down. Why be sedentary when we can move around? You're probably not spending a lot of time stood up or moving around. And apart from it making you burn more energy, gets you outside more. You see the benefits of it unrelated to weight loss. Like, it's good and rewarding, and it's just a nice thing to do, and it changes your lifestyle to kind of appreciate just general movement. You can go on a walk anytime. You can go on a short walk, a long walk. There's so many things you can do with it. Just prioritizing movement is just key for long-term sustainable results. Also, the gym, strength training, progressive overload, lifting heavier each week or lifting more weights each week, lifting more volume overall. For me, I'm actually doing 4 gym sessions a week, full body, core, very gentle. I'm just doing machines personally, which is very funny because I'm very functional. My training, very functional. I love a free weight, but because of the core situation, I'm just sticking to the machines and high reps so that I can ensure that I'm moving what needs to be moved, and I'm not overworking my core. I'm doing that in specific exercises as opposed to doing like standing overhead press with dumbbells, I am going to be using more core stood up than sat down with the machine, which means that I could potentially overdo it if I'm trying to push heavier with my arms. So just specifically, if you can do free weights, but personally for me, at least for the first month, I'm just going to stick to cables and machines. For me, again, my focus is mindful eating. So I'm going to be slightly more aware of the calories in my food and the protein. I'm prioritising protein because obviously the muscle development, and supplements too, obviously to replenish what was lost in pregnancy, and make sure that I am adequately fueled in my diet, a variety of food, but also the iron, the calcium from breastfeeding and stuff. But when it comes to supplements, I'm not just going to say, here's what you should have. I would recommend blood tests because there's no point in supplementing something that doesn't need it. Mine are, when it comes to postpartum, talk to your health practitioner because they'll be able to help guide you. Obviously, I don't need a blood test for the calcium. It is well studied in research that it depletes your calcium levels. I want to decrease my risk of osteoporosis, so I'm just making sure but when it comes to things like vitamin D, when it comes to things like iron, these have all been done through blood tests, and I'm making sure that my levels are adequate. So there's no point in supplementing something that you don't know what's going on anyway, because what a waste of money. Just your levels are already fine, they're higher than they need to be. Why add any more? I would also add in here, I've got really good food habits. I love planning, I love meal prepping, obviously this is what I did. I studied food science and nutritional sciences for 5 years at university. I've done the thing, And when it comes to, it's my career as well. I literally help people build healthy habits around their diet and exercise. So your dietary habits are really important too. Mine don't need any work. I'm just prioritizing the protein and the calories. I'm just thinking about those things a little bit more now. So when it comes further down the line, I can start tweaking and adjusting to begin counting so it feels easy again. But if you don't have any of those skills, start working on them. Start working on prepping and planning, because that's the only way that you're going to have long-term sustainable results. The last thing that I'd recommend doing is prioritizing sleep. That's what I'm doing as well. For me, that looks like Jake taking the first shift. So I get about 4 hours unbroken sleep. I feed the baby, go to sleep. And then when she wakes up for a feed, I take over the rest of the night. I feel fantastic. I am having a couple of coffees a day, not gonna lie. But generally, emotionally, I'm regulated. I feel well rested. I don't feel sleepy. If I do feel sleepy, I take a nap. But I would recommend making sure that you are getting the sleep. Mine's not optimal. And as I explained the reasons behind sleep and why you needed to kind of have optimal fat loss, I try and prioritize sleep. It's not going to be perfect for everybody, but if you focus on it, it should hopefully, you should hopefully be benefited by it. And then literally the last things are planning. So planning all these things out, trialing them out. How does that go? Reflect on how it went, and then repeat. Keep repeating. So I actually have a habit tracker, which I'm adjusting and reflecting on. So the first month for me was survival. So it was about getting up, to get movement, to get blood flow, to make sure I was eating, to make sure I was staying hydrated, just all those survival things, showering twice a day, because you just feel gross postpartum, and I felt amazing after both those showers. It was like a 5-minute refresh in my life, but every week I'd be like, this didn't go so well, what can I do? And then now I'm in the priming phase. This week, to begin with, I didn't have a step goal or a walking goal or anything. I didn't even wear my watch for the last month of pregnancy, for the first month of postpartum, because I didn't want the stress. There's lots of other stressful things in my life. I don't want to say that I've only walked 1,000 steps. That's not fun. But I started walking more, popped it back on. So my average was around 5,500 steps from not having a goal. And then this week I've set it for 7. I'm going to say at the end of the week, how did that feel? How's it went? And then maybe I'll jump it to 8. And that's how we're going to go for the next couple of months, to get to that roaring fire, to just get that fat loss. amazing and effective and efficient. So the timeline, the plan for me is I'm gonna maybe focus, it depends, for maybe 3 to 4 months or even 2. So 2, 3 or 4 months, I'm gonna focus on rebuilding strength before going into a deficit. I'm literally just gonna see how I feel, how hard I can push. Because if I get to a place where I'm feeling like I can push hard, then I'm just gonna go for it. But if it doesn't feel like I can push hard, then I'm not gonna, right? So 2, 3, 4 months until I just pull the calories down. And my focus, I'm looking at my notes. Build muscle, high activity, so that deficit is a roaring fire versus a flickering flame. What more can we want? But yes, that's it. That's everything from me. I hope that this was helpful, because long term, like to transform your body and your lifestyle, ultimately it's a lifestyle transformation that's going to lead to your body being transformed. That lasts 10 years, 20 years and more. It needs to be a lifestyle. So think about it this way. You have probably gained weight in the past. Maybe you're looking to lose weight now. You've gained weight recently. You gained weight moving to university. You gained weight getting a new job. You gained weight getting a promotion. You gained weight having a child. These are all lifestyle changes. So you need to be able to adjust and have a flexible, sustainable set of habits that allow you to maintain your results throughout. So when you have a lifestyle change, if you don't adjust, then you're gonna see change. So if you move country or whatever it might be, you get the promotion, but to get the promotion, you're working late. So you start getting takeaways, and you start getting higher calorie takeaways, and then you've gained 10 kilograms in the space of a few months. And it's been because you had a lifestyle change. Now, you simply just have to be aware of that. This is where the planning, the reflecting, etc. comes into the future. When it's something like pregnancy, kind of unavoidable. When it's something like a promotion, it's like, it's tricky. Sometimes, like when I was doing my my master's dissertation, I fueled myself on Monsters and Ritz crackers. I don't know, not the healthiest option in the world, but like it's what I needed to get me through. Sometimes you need to do these things to get yourself through. And if it's a short period of time, it's just like it's a fluctuation. We're supposed to have them. But just think, don't be too hard on yourself when these things happen, because I'm loving where I'm at. I mean, I'm very excited to be 10, 15 kilograms lighter, but it's a lifestyle change. Moved countries, it's a lifestyle change. I hope that your life is very fun now. Even if your body has changed a little bit, we can always get back to a place where you're very happy. So that's everything from me. If you would like to work with me and my team at the Wellness Club, because you've had a lifestyle change, you really want to ingrain everything that we've talked about on this video so that you can have results that last for a decade, for 2 decades, inquire. In the description, all the instructions to do so are there. Would love to have you on board. Otherwise, have a bloody fantastic, amazing, wonderful rest of the day. It was great chatting with you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.